Well, hello everyone, and welcome to another episode with your girl Audrey Codner from ACCUPLACER Tutoring. Hopefully, you guys are having a lovely evening. And right now, we're just going to get ourselves situated as we do from verbal to algebraic. So, we're going to be tackling those word problems. So, if you know of anyone that is either just going back to school, let's do some algebra. They're doing their GED, the ASVAB, the ACCUPLACER, TEAS test, any of the nursing programs, any high school equivalency, almost even SAT, ACT, any of those standardized tests, even IBEW. If you are doing any of those examinations, this is the live for you. So as you guys are coming on in, go ahead and just click around. We're going to get started when we hit that 1K, and hopefully we'll get that as soon as possible. So, yes, we are verbal to algebraic. Okay, well, hello, Troy. Hello, is that Torta? Hello, No. There's a person named No. It's hilarious. Okay, so as you guys are coming on in, go ahead and tap your screen. I know for sure that we're all basically trying to get ready. I know there's a couple states that's been in school for about 2, maybe 3 weeks now. But Maryland, we're getting ourselves ready to go back this week. I know, it's all kinds of crazy, but here we are. So, hey, Philly girl. So if you are coming in, go ahead and tap the screen. We're going to go from verbal to algebraic. So what do I mean by that? If we kind of take like a quick little gander, this is just a sampler. So we're translating those word problems. I know for sure a lot of you guys struggle with word problems. So this is the live for you. Come on in. Go ahead, share the live, invite who you need to invite, because this is definitely going to be the live where I'm not only going to just break down expressions, we're actually going to be looking at some other word problems that's usually seen in the GED, the ASVAB, and also the TEAS test, as well as your ACCUPLACER. So as you guys are coming in, go ahead and tap the screen. I get started when we have our 1K. And I won't get started until then. So we got some tapping to do. We have roughly 112, 115 people here, and I only see 16 hearts. So let's go, let's tap so we can get started. So I just gave you a sample of what we're doing. So now tap on in. There you go. Let's see who's here. Hello, God is good. Thank you so much for coming on in. Okay, everyone else, come on in, follow suit. As soon as we get to our 1,000, I get started. I'm not asking so much for gifts, just more so just liking, so we can get more people that come onto this platform, so I can help as many people as I can possible. Okay, so as I said before, we are just doing from verbal to algebraic. There's going to be some expressions, then later on we're going to some equations. Now these are the numbers, or those 4-point questions. If you're going to take the GED, this is definitely the live for you as we break all those things down. Now if you want to come on in, excuse me, maybe you're at work, maybe you're like, Audrey, I wish I can tap, but I'm driving right now. Okay, or if you know of anyone else that's like, I'm just here to listen. But at the same time, if you ever want to see any of my replays, this is where you will go, okay, to my YT channel. You can type in Audrey Codner, which is my name, or ACG Math Tutoring. And I would love for you to do these 5 things. I want you to subscribe. I want you to like. And it's a free subscription. Comment whatever you have to comment, and then share it with those that you know they're going to go into an algebraic type concept course for this upcoming school year, and you know they're going to need some assistance. So there's tons of videos that's already up there that's hitting on a lot of those major components. So with anything, without further ado, this is another place where you can go to get the support that you need. Okay? All right. Well, thank you so much for doing that. So Let's get it. Let's go. So, verbal to algebraic. Now, if you are not sure, actually I should bring that all the way down. If you're not sure, each word or each term actually has an operation that is associated with it. Now, if you ever have one of my handy dandy math notebooks, there is actually a page that is dedicated to that. So it's called the operations terminology. So each operation has certain words that usually you can translate from the word problems. So if we look at addition, obviously add is going to be on there, but the one that a lot of people either forget about is more than, okay? Just the two words more than. When you see more than, that's addition. That's not the inequality that's down here. The inequality when they say is more than. When they say is more than, we're looking at greater than. But if they're just saying more than, that is addition. The same thing goes for less than. If it says is less than, it's an inequality. If it just says less than, that's subtraction. A lot of students usually get that mixed up because we're so engraved in our head, more than and less than. Same thing if they said greater than, okay? If it don't say is greater than, they're talking about addition. If it just says greater than, all right? A lot of people forget about takeaway. Not too many people use takeaway too often, but difference of, sum of, even just the word of. Of means multiplication. But when they talk about sum of or difference of, that means I'm putting something in parentheses. I know, no one's probably ever told you that. Okay, so something is being put into parentheses. Hey, Marvele, how are you? Okay, so quotient per really needs division. Okay, but the approach of it is actually going to be multiplication. And then you have your whole series of is. You know is, you know equals, is identical to, is the same as much as, is equal to. And then we already talked about the inequality. Now, anytime they talk about ratios, that means we're setting up fractions, okay? Fractions is division, all right? So it's not two separate worlds. But if I'm taking a portion of something, a fraction of something, we're going to be dealing with that multiplication, all right? So keeping this in mind, this is also available inside my Ultimate Math Notebook. So now let's work on translating. Okay, hey, Just BB, how are you? All right, so now we're looking at the sum of Q and 8. So instead of us being bombarded with so much, I try to use different colors. Let's just take it one step at a time. Okay, the sum of Q and 8. If there is nothing after that expression, if there's nothing after that, we don't need a parenthesis. But if it said the sum of Q and 8 plus 24, that means we need to put parentheses around the Q and the 8. But since they're just telling us the sum of, all we have to do is sum means addition, so your answer is going to be Q plus 8. All right, good. There you go. Sweat that. That's it. All right. Now, we have n decreased by 17. Okay, n decreased by 17. Hello. So, decreased by. Think about it. Something's going down. If something's going down, that means something is being taken away from it in order for it to go down. Think about a balloon. When a balloon goes up, if I am taking something like, the air or the helium, all of a sudden the balloon is coming down. So that is going to be, yes, welcome back. We got our subtraction. And then we have God is good, say n minus 17. Katie, welcome back, Katie. N minus 17. Sweta, say n minus 17. User, hey, user 5166. N minus 17. Excellent. Okay, so this is going to be the warm-up, just to get our brains into this whole ideal, okay? Because we are going to be doing some translating of word problems that you would normally see on the GED. If you get something like this on your GED, maybe even your ASVAB, this is basically a 1-point question. Really, it's like a gimme, okay? The difference of 10 and 5. The difference. Okay, since they don't have anything else that's being mentioned at the end of this statement, that means we don't need parentheses. Okay, so the difference of 10 and 5 simply means what? Not division. Not division. So when I'm looking at difference, I'm doing almost a comparison. Okay, not subtraction, but, it's all multiplication, but it is subtraction. Good. All right. So when you're taking the difference, you're subtracting. So it's going to be 10 minus 5. Yes, there you go, Divine Love. Good. Shashan, how are you? Yaya, good. Mela, yes. Okay. Just BB, excellent. All right, good. Marveline, yes. Good. All right. Half of 14. Hey, Big Al, how are you? Oh, thank you for the gift. I appreciate that. For the booze. Half of 14. Yes, we got our division. Hello, Margaret. How are you? Okay. We do have some division. Okay. But it also can be shown as multiplication as well. You know why? Because of this word of. Okay. I know what some of you guys are thinking. You're thinking of 14 divided by 2 because you're taking half of 14. But it also can be seen as 1/2, which is 1 over 2. Of means multiplication, 14. Okay. So it could be written like this as a ratio, or it can be written as a fraction being multiplied by a whole number. Okay. There you go. Just BB, good. Nano, I love it. Good. Cybersecurity, good. Okay. So this is what we're doing. If we can get these basic concepts down, you can do almost any form of math with little instruction. Okay, as long as because all we're doing is taking these basic skills and what you do when you go into Algebra 2, when you go into pre-calculus, when you go into calculus, and you can do the whole thing. It takes a lot of these basic concepts and it manipulates it so we can get some of the advancement. Okay. So you're doing great stuff, guys. Keep it up. All right. So now for the next one, the product of x and 7. The product of x and 7. What do you think? Okay. Nano saying multiplication. Just BB is saying multiply. Okay. Ramen is saying multiply. Ramona, sorry. I keep saying that wrong. Okay. Big Al saying multiply. Okay. What would it look like? Okay. what would it look like? Yes, user, good. 4565, multiply. There we go. Okay. So my user is saying 7x. We're saying 7, I guess that's going to be times x. I want to assume that. Okay, we are going to be doing multiplication. What was the question? What does the product of x and 7 look like? And hey, Nicole. Okay. So Big Al is saying 7 times x. Okay. Okay. Hey, Michael. 7x. All right. Of means multiply. Is that correct? Yep. It is multiplication. Yep. So Nano's saying it's 7x. Okay. Nicole's saying x times 7. Okay. There it is. I was waiting for it. Thank you, Travis. I was waiting for that. Okay. Now, when we do product does mean multiplication. So excellent job right there. Now, Big Al, yep, I got you, Big Al. So, don't hate math. No. Because I'm glad you did that. Because a good 90% of our today's youth does exactly what you just did. And I really want to correct it. And I think once we get it here, it'll be awesome. Okay? So don't feel bad, please. So since we're doing product of 7 and x, and I know as we were doing the other ones, we were basically putting them in the order as we see them. But when it comes to multiplication, we have this lovely little rule that we would love for our number to be in front of our variable. Okay, we're used to seeing the number in front of the variable. Now, the way that you represent the multiplication, I saw some dots. Okay, I've also seen just the 7 and the x next to each other. But I didn't see any 7s with parentheses, because that also means multiplication as well. But this is when people get caught. When for years you were told that multiplication was an x. Once you get into algebra, multiplication is not represented by the x anymore. It's either represented by a dot, or maybe there is no space in between the coefficient, which is the number, and the variable, or they're putting in parentheses. We do not have double x's. Okay, we're not trying to do porn. We're not doing that. Okay, so this is why a lot of our students get confused, because they're so used to using x to represent multiplication that when they start doing advanced math and then they're told that x is actually a number, because this is basically saying 7x squared. That's what this is saying, and that's not what we want. Okay, so when we do this translating from verbal to algebraic, majority of the time, especially product of, you're going to see it written like this, 7x. Okay, yep. Oh, you did the parentheses? Okay. Did I skip that? I'm sorry. Okay. All right. So now we know, okay? Now we know that this is like basic algebra, okay? So anytime we're going into algebra, x no longer represents multiplication. X is representing a number, and we don't know what that number is that's going to make whatever that statement or equation true, okay? So instead of putting like an empty box, we use variables. All right. Gets confused here. Yes. And that's the thing, because they're so engraved. You got to think, a lot of them don't go into algebra until what, 6th grade? Some of them 7th grade, depending on their abilities. Even if we go to 6th grade, you mean to tell me since they were before they went to school, because, you know, we do math with our kids, right? So before they went to school, maybe they did it in, you know, nursery school or daycare, then 1st grade, 2nd grade, 3rd grade, 4th grade, 5th grade. So basically for like 5, maybe 6 years, they were told about multiplication and they seen pictures that use an X. Now all of a sudden you're telling them you can't use an X. And it gets confusing. It really gets confusing. So we can get this. Algebra, but in the 7th grade. Awesome. That's great. So you've never done algebra? Okay. You probably have to a certain degree. You probably didn't go all the way to Algebra 2 because Algebra 2 wasn't made a requirement to graduate until, I want to say 9 years ago. It's relatively fresh. I want to say 9 years ago, maybe 10. Okay. All right. Okay, so we're going to take it step by step. Now, 10 less than 17. Let me cover this part up so we can focus on that. So 10 less than 17. Now, here, so do my GED, only have math left. Okay, all right, excellent. Well, congratulations that now you're trying to step up and you're trying to get it together. I love that. I'm so proud of you. User 2786 and all those numbers. Okay. All right. So we're doing subtraction. Okay. Back in college doing college basic algebra. All right. Hey, beautiful. Welcome in. Luzma, how are you? All right. So here's the thing. Yep. I'm so glad you did that, BB. Okay. All right. This says 10 less than 17. Like most of you guys have written and said that we are going to do subtraction. This is not going to be an inequality. The reason why it's not an inequality because it doesn't say is less than. When it just says less than, that means we're doing subtraction. Now, we got to look at position. Listen to how it sounds. 10 less than. So that means 10 is the one that's being subtracted from the 17. So it's not going to be 10 minus 17. It's actually going to flip. So it's going to be 17 minus 10 because 10's less than. So anytime you see less than and also greater than or more than, you have to flip them or you have to exchange them. Okay. Hey, Janice, how are you? All right. So Italy's world, yes, it's going to be 17 minus 10. Big Al, 17 minus 10. Yes. Okay. Anytime you see less than, even more than, you always have to switch it. And trust me, they will have that 10 minus 17 as one of your options. Okay. Yes, less than, less than, greater than, and more than are the ones that you have to watch out for. For the addition, it doesn't kill you. But if they give you a question that they want the correct positioning, that's usually like a 1-point question. Okay, they usually do that like roughly like a 1-point question. Okay. So, example of terms. What do you mean example of terms? Yes, than and the from. Thank you, Deb. Appreciate that. Okay. All right. So I'm going to write it on my paper right here, just an extra one. So if I said, I'm just going to write the numbers. So 7 more than x. What would 7 more than x represent? How would I represent that algebraically? Okay, yes, Roma, good. Is addition. Okay. Oh, well, thank you. Okay. Careful. 7 more than x. All right, so Big Al's saying 7 plus x. Lacole's saying 7 plus x. Italy's World saying x plus 7. Luzma saying x plus 7. Big Al switched up to x plus 7. User 2786 with x plus 7. All right, thank you so much for the follows and the gifts and everything. And the tapping. I know it's hard to tap and do math at the same time. But I greatly appreciate it. Okay, so anytime we say more than, that's plus. But the 7 is more than. So the 7's coming here and the x is going there. So it's actually going to be x plus 7. All right. All right, good. Okay, so do we see it now? Okay, less than, it's going to be minus, but we're going to have to switch these two. Okay, more than, it's going to be plus. We have to switch these two. I know if you're doing the operation, remember addition, that's more like, what is it? Commutative. Okay, so I know that if I had 5 plus 7, 7 plus 5, they're both going to equal the same exact thing. Okay, so if I drove from home to work and work to home, the same exact route both ways, it's going to be the same exact mileage. Okay, one might have more traffic on it, but it's exactly the same mileage. Okay, it might be the same time depending on traffic. Yes, they do, Big Al, and that's what they do. That's what they do. So that's why I want to kind of show you guys these things. So when it comes to when you're ready to take that test, you're going to be like, oh, okay, you guys can't trip me up, okay? Just take your time when you're dealing with this test. And last but not least, because we're going to be doing a lot more, 5 squared. How would I write out 5 squared? Okay, so Big Al saying 5 raised to the second power. Feel like she's teaching me more than. Oh, oh, thank you, user. I appreciate it. Okay, so 5 raised to the second power. Good. All right, 5 to the second power, nice. All right. Oops, got my wrong colored pen. All right, so you have your 5. That 5 is your base. And it's raised to the second power. There you go. Thank you, Marveli. So now, just a little extension. Just want to put my 2 cents in here. 5 raised to the second power does not mean 5 times 2. Okay, stop it. I say this out of pure love. I want to shake you sometimes, but I say this out of love. Okay, 5, anytime you see a small number, that is called your exponent. That's telling you you're taking this base, which is 5, and that's how many times you're going to multiply it to itself. So 5 to the second power is not 10, where in fact 5 to the second power is equivalent to 25. Okay. 25. All right. Thank you, Big Al. Yes, user. Yes, Italy's world. Love it. Okay. Yes, Marbelli. Good. All right. So as long as we understand these little itty bitty things, I'm like, ladies and gentlemen, I believe that you guys are so intelligent. My gosh, you have this stuff within you. You thought it was lost and was gone. No, it's just like riding a bike. Yeah, you might feel all kinds of weird and dysfunctional when you first get on, but eventually you're going to ride like a champ. Okay? We just have to exercise our mind once in a while, you know? Stay away from 90 Day Fiancé for 5 seconds. I know, the new version is going to come on in about a half an hour, but it's okay. It will always be on. Okay. So, who else in college? I'm taking intermediate algebra class, and I'm scared it starts to... Stop. Aaliyah? It says Aaliyah? Stop. It's okay. It's going to be okay. You're going to take it step by step, and you're going to take it like a champ. You're going to be okay. All right? As long as you can add, subtract, multiply, and divide, I know the pace of it is going to be intense. However, you are definitely capable of getting it done. All right? So, here is another one that I really want to add into here. I know we're about to go algebraic expressions, but I want to add this part into it. So just give me a moment to kind of write it down. Of course, there's a lot of formulas, but keep giving yourself exposure. You got this, okay? So just give me a moment just to write this down, because I want you to see when to use parentheses and when not to use parentheses. Well, we kind of the not part. Let's get when to use parentheses. Might try to squeeze it on in there. Well, there we go. All right. In school, it's okay. You're all right. Okay, so 8 times the sum of a number and 2. Remember earlier when I was taught, well, maybe some of you guys didn't because you just got here. So this very first example says the sum of Q and 8. Sum of means addition. And I said, well, there's nothing before it or nothing after it. They're just talking about that. So we don't need a parenthesis. Whereas this example, 8 times the sum of a number and 2, I want you to think of it as like there's 2 things that's happening. One of the things is that means I'm taking an 8 and I'm multiplying it to something. And what that something is the sum of a number and 2. So we can think of it as this, as my parenthesis, and my 8 is multiplying it. But since it's 8 times, doesn't a parenthesis mean multiplication? So we don't have to add that in. Yes, Nano, there we go. So that means we have 8 parenthesis, the sum of a number. Let me use n for my number. So we got n plus 2. Sum of, we don't need to switch. Okay, the only one that we're doing switching is more than, less than, greater than. So basically anything with a than. Well, I don't want to say that because that will throw everybody off. Just as long as it says less than, greater than, more than. You got to flip. And from, you have to flip. Okay. Do we see it? All right. Well, thank you. I try with the penmanship. That's a little sloppy, but here we go. Let me see if I can do one more. Just give me a moment, please. And then I just had a crazy thought. How often does your kids write numbers? I mean, like spell out numbers. How often are they spelling out 13 and 100? They're just using the digits, aren't they? Like, they hardly ever write out, because kids nowadays, sorry, showing my age, no one writes checks anymore. So it's almost like for them to write out or spell out numbers is slowly going away because no one's write checks anymore. Yes. Because I don't think, and I'm just thinking of like I think I did something like this and I have this, and the kid was like trying to sound it out. And he was a 5th grader. And I'm like, what's wrong? He's like, I don't know that word. I'm like, 12? He's like, yeah, I don't know that word. Very interesting. Right? So that might be something that's slowly being pushed aside because we don't teach checks anymore. We hardly, if we do, we usually give the kids the word problems, but they don't write it out. If they do, it's probably maybe 1, maybe 2 lessons, and then that's it. It's crazy. All right, so what we have 3 plus 6 divided by x minus 12. 3 plus 6 divided by x plus 12 with parentheses around it. Ooh, I like that. We have 3 plus 6 divided by x minus 12. All right, so 3 plus 6 divided by n minus 12. Okay, difference means subtraction, right? That is correct. That is correct. So 3 minus 6 divided by x minus 12. Okay. Now, I love everyone's answers. However, the one that got it correct, or close to being correct, a lot of you guys have it, but there's something missing. Okay, there's something missing, majorly missing. Because right now, no, you don't have to combine everything. You can make it 9 if you want to, but that's not what I was looking for. There was something missing. Because if I just have it written, and I'll write it out like how you guys write it, and I know it's tough to type it all in. You have 3 plus 6 with your division sign of n minus 12. Now, if I were to do the order of operation, okay? If I was to do, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, from left to right, I would have to combine not the 3 plus 6, as is written here. I would have to combine the 6 and the n. Why is that? There you go, Maya. There it is. Mia, why I keep calling you Myra? Why? Why am I doing that? Sorry. My brain. Okay? Because we have to put parentheses around them. There you go. Because this is saying we're dividing by the difference of a number and 12. So this is actually representing your denominator, that whole expression right here. Okay? So if we can, use the power of parentheses, especially when you have to write it out horizontally, it's kind of tough. But if you're writing it out without, more vertically, you can say your 3 plus 6 over n minus 12, or you can simplify it with 9 over n minus 12. Okay? Alright, so either way will work. But if we're going to do it horizontally, we have to put the parentheses around. Why am I so emphasis with the H? We have to put the parentheses around it. Okay? Alright? Because we're not distributing. Okay? We are not distributing. Okay? Does that make sense? Give me some thumbs up. Let me know that you're okay. If you're confused about something, please put it in the chat. I do not want you to leave out of here completely confused. Okay, so I got a couple yeses. I got a got yous. How would I solve this? Past that point. Yes. Okay, you got it. Good. All right, Coco. Now, for this, it's going to be tough for you to go further than this because you have an unknown. And we don't know what it's supposed to equal. We don't know if we're evaluating. So as simplified, this is as low as it goes. You cannot reduce the 9 and that 12 because this 12 is a part of this expression here. Okay? You can't do that. Okay. My fingers? I know. Hey. All right. Okay. Good. Awesome. All right, so now let's see if we can step it up a little bit. Okay, that's all right. If he wants to pay for my manicure, I will take it. Gift me, baby. Gift me. So I can get a mani-pedi. Hand down these Wolverines. Not a problem. I'm like, all right, so I am going to give us a couple of problems that we will normally see. I want to see if I can do a couple expressions before we get to equations. And I'll probably quiz us a little bit later. All right, so let me take this off so I can get it a little flat. And then I'm going to get you a situation that you will see GED, ASVAB, ACCUPLACER, all of that. And this is like going to be like one of those 4-point questions that I was telling you about with the GED. Comfortable doing this? That's what I'm doing now. So pay up. That's exactly what I'm doing with you now. But see, it's a mindset. It really is. Because I'll tell you the truth. Here's my story. I used to suck at math. Terrible. Absolutely terrible. Yes, dear. Yes. Yeah, when I asked you when to go outside, you ignored me, didn't you? Now you're going to have to wait. Yes. All right. Okay. So now, here we go with a situation. Let me make it a lot larger. All right. Thank you so much. We're getting close to 10K. That's awesome. I know a lot of people are basically... Okay, so you're saying C. I got a couple people with C's. Coco's saying the C. An educated guess. All right. So this is what's called a system of equations. When you have two or more equations based off of a situation. So the things that we just did, you're actually applying it to a system of equation. Like I said, this is like considered maybe a 3-point question because we're just setting it up. But if we were to solve and try to find your video game cost versus the DVD cost, that will make it into a 4-point question. So we got Ken and we got Jerome. So Ken bought 2 video games and 1 DVD for a total cost of $105. Jerome bought 1 video game and 4 DVDs for a total cost of $105. So they're both equal the same. This is how I would approach it if I was taking the test. Both of them are equal 105. Do they all equal 105? Yes. Awesome. Ken has 2 video games. Jerome has 1 video game. So let me go to the V's for the video games. Which one has a 2 and a 1? This one has a 2 and a 1. This one has a 2 and a 4. This one has a 2 and a 1. So right away, A and B are eliminated. You see how you can do the process of elimination just to narrow things down. Okay? So now we're looking at the DVD. We have 1 for the DVD and 4 for the DVD. So for the D's, we're looking for 1 and 4 to match with the 2 and 1. 2, 1, 1, 4, 1, 4. So for those that picked C, you were correct. Okay? Usually I pick up the speed a little bit, but that's how you do process elimination. Notice we didn't do any math. We were just basically looking to see what the pattern was. Okay? Some of those test questions, because everyone freaks out like, oh my God, I gotta memorize the formulas and all this stuff. Sometimes it's just common sense. Take a step back, just with the common sense, right? All right, yes. Okay. Let's see if we can find another one. Everyone's favorite. Give me a moment to tape this bad boy in here. I feel like an acrobat right here. I'm like trying to put it all together. So many of those during alcohol. Overthinking? Yes, Jay. Because there's times, like I always said, the best time to take a test when you literally are in the parking lot and you're just like, F it, whatever happens, it happens. And that would be your best score ever. Every single solitary time. Because I'll tell you, it took me 11 times to pass the praxis. Yes, 11, 1, 1. Yep. It took me 11 times to pass the praxis. But it's like literally as soon as I took the test, I came home, signed up for the next test. That's all I did. I'm like, all right, here's $200. Yeah, I was working at the time and I was just like, I don't know. because if you passed it, they'll send the money back to you. So I'm like, all right, cool. But that's basically what I did. I just kept going. And the last time, it was April. I don't know why the test always seems easier in April, but in April I was just like, screw it. I'm sick, I'm tired, I don't care, and I passed it. So sometimes it's like we need to get out of our own way in order to have a clear, open mind when we do these things. Okay. That's how you know so much. Yeah, lots of practice. If I feel bad about a test, I go, and I feel good, and I do back. Okay. I took a test one time and made 100. That's always the way. Because you were in a different mindset. I wouldn't suggest that all the time, but because you were in that different mindset. All right. They always have something with coins. Okay? They always have something with coins. And here it says the only coins that Alexis has are dimes and quarters. Her coins have a total of $5.80. She has a total of 40 coins. Which of the following system can be used to find the number of dimes and the number of quarters? Okay. So the two equations that's being represented, and I'm going to tell you guys, you will seldom, especially GED, you will never see 3 equations. Okay, if so, it's going to be one equation that's going to be x equals, and you can just plug in and solve. And I'll show you that later on when we get to like matrices. Now, they're talking, one equation is talking about the money, and the other equation is talking about the actual coins. Okay. So the one with the money, that means we need to have the value of a dime and the value of a quarter. Now, this is when I get scared. I think you guys are adults. You about all right, but these, woo. Here we go. The value of a dime is 0.10. Okay, I know. Just work with me. Because trust and believe, these are some of the things that I'm seeing from some of our high school students. Okay, I'm not here to judge. I'm not here to reflect. I'm just here to fix if I can fix. Okay, so the quarters, 0.25. Okay. So those two numbers should be associated with your D and your Q, and it should equal 580. So if we're taking a look, we got 580. This says D plus Q equals 580. Nope. They're not telling me the value of a dime or a quarter. Now this is just ridiculous. Okay, the total is supposed to be 580, so that's not it. Then again, here they come with the D and the Q with the 580. They're not giving me the value of the dime and a quarter. So it has to be D. Because they switched it up. They're saying their dimes and quarters will equal 40 coins. So they're just looking at the physical dime and the physical quarter. Whereas the money is looking at its value. Okay. All right. Good. You get it? See? Okay. So a lot of this, especially if they're giving you a system and they're giving you the equations, looking at your choices, you always want to be PO. Okay? PO is your process of elimination. Okay? If they're giving you an equation that deals with the value of the money, that means each your dime and the quarter should be representing its value. If they're giving you the physical number of coins, that means you're just saying D plus Q equals the physical number of chords. Okay. 40 years later, right? I know. Thank you, Michael. Good. All right, so again, for people that don't know me, I like to break concepts all the way down. Okay, the only way I stop is when I look at comments that says, I got it, oh my gosh, this is clear, or I still got a question with this. That's the only way I stop. Okay, so if you're like, man, this lady is beating it down, I'm like, yeah, that's what I do. Okay, so another one, because I think I'm going to do system of equations tomorrow with the whole solving. But I'm going to put this one up, and then I'm going to give another word problem, and then we're going to probably wrap this bad boy up. I'm going to see if I can put it right there. You're just going to go on a little ride with me for a second. Thank you so much for your patience. Because sometimes I don't know which one I'm going to do until I see you guys. So I don't like to pre-tape and then I'm like, okay, well, I got to rip that up out of the book. No one likes to do that. Man, the frogs are going crazy tonight. Is there some kind of weird moon happening today or something? Because I haven't heard the frogs like this in a minute. Alright, so let's see if we got this. Alright. So nice. Okay. No, I'm not near a pond, which is very interesting. Yeah, I'm not that bougie. I don't got that. Not yet. One day. I don't know if I want to be near that close to water. That's when all those reptiles just be coming out of nowhere. And plus, we have, what are those fish again? That's invasive, and people are starting to catch them and cook them, and they're not good fish. It'll come to me as soon as we come off. But anyway, yeah, they go nuts. Okay, I guess so. All right, can I move the book back some? Piranhas? No, no, not catfish, not piranhas. They're such ugly fish, and they can kind of crawl on the ground. Watch, as soon as one of you guys said, no, not tilapia, that fake fish. Why do people eat that? I don't know. Not grouper. Yeah, grouper is that. No. Snake. No. Snakehead? Is that it? I think it is. I think it's snakehead. And people down... No, not stingrays. You're cracking me up. She's like, grouper, tilapia, catfish. What's next? Jellyfish? I know you are, and I appreciate you. I think it's snakehead. Oh God, it's all over Maryland. It's all over Maryland. But anyway, we'll figure it out. Okay, so we got Rogers Lumberyard, landscaping timber. So you have all this lovely information. Now, when you're taking the test, ignore this for right now. Okay, when you see a word problem like this, immediately go to the question. Okay, that's the first thing you go to. And then you start looking for your information. Because sometimes they give you all these pictures and all this stuff, and it has nothing to do with anything. Or it's just a cute little thing. No one cares about cuteness. We just want to get these problems done and over with and moving on with our lives. Okay, there we go. So which pair of equations could be used to find the number of timber of each size as they're bought? Okay, so now they're telling me we got 5-foot timber at $6 each, 8-foot timber at $9 each. But then here, now we can go into the verbiage. SATs will give you novels. Sweet baby Jesus. But if they give you an equation, look at the equation, look at the question. Get to what you got to get to. So now, they bought 40 timbers. The total cost for the timber was $288. So when we're looking at this, I see a couple people saying D. So if we're saying 40 timber, and we're looking at a 5-foot timber, and we're looking at an 8-foot timber. So one is going to be X, one is going to be Y. So if we're looking at that, then we have the timber was $288. Okay, so that's dealing with money because it's $288. So we know if we want to say the 5-foot will be our X and the 8-foot will be our Y. All right. Usually the first number that they come up with is always going to be your X value, and the next number will be your Y value. So if you're like, oh, how do you know which one's X and which one's Y? Go with that, okay? So when we're looking at it, right away, A is saying $6 and $9, but for 40 timber. That's not it. The 6 and the 9 should go with the money. So right away, I'm getting rid of A and I'm getting rid of B. Because this is telling me 5 and 8. No. If it's talking about $288, that means I should be associating the $6 for the 5-foot timber and the $9 for the 8-foot timber. Okay? And we don't know how many timbers there are, so we're going to be using our X and Y. So what's wrong with C? Or I should say, what's the difference between C and D? Let's put it that way. Okay, so it's going to be the battle between C or D. Hey, Amber, how are you? Oh, Hilly. Hi. And Hilly, yes, I thought you were a guy. That's why I laughed. Okay. So you choose D again. Good. Because right now, we're saying the 5-foot is represented by X and the 8-foot is represented by Y. So if I just say X plus Y equals 40, and now the money is going to be associated with the 288. So it'll be 6X plus 9Y equals 288. So yes, for all those patiently waiting, it is D. Okay, it is D. Because C is giving me the quantity. We don't need the quantity. We don't need their lengths. Because that 40 is not talking about their foot. They're talking about the number of timber. Okay, we're talking about the number of timber, not how many feet. Okay. Right. So it's not going to be C because of that. That's okay. All right, so it is going to be D. All right. Now, let's get a little... Let's see if we can get this one set up in its bare form. And let's see if we can dabble into solving. Because I think if I stick with the basics, a lot of people generally come and stay when I talk about the basics math. Once I start getting all complicated, that's when people are like, and I'm out. And I'm like, no, you need this. Stay with me. And then I feel like a jilted lover. No, Tyrell, stay with me. It's always a tie something. Okay. Yes, almost at 20. Let's see. Tyrone. I know. Call him. Oh man, there were so many people mad when that song first came out. So many angry individuals. It's okay, brothers, it's okay. All right. Yes, that's true. We will always need math. It's everywhere. You know, think about our rhythms. Think about our personalities when it's sunny out. Think about our personalities when it's raining out. Our moods, our energy levels. All that's mathematics. All of it. Everything surrounds us. Okay? But I'm here to try to make just the basic stuff simple. Okay. Okay, not a problem. Not a problem. All right. So, here we go, I think. I feel like I'm riding blind here. All right. So, Luke has 15 coins. He has only nickels and dimes. And trust me, people, you're going to take the test and you're going to see one of these nickels and dimes part, and I know you're going to laugh to yourself because they always have at least one problem that has to deal with coins. I don't know what the obsession is. I don't know if they lost a bet. I don't know, okay? But we can actually break these things down. So Luke has 15 coins. He only has nickels and dimes. If the total value of the coins is $1.20, how many nickels does he have? All right. This is also not only in GED. Okay. This is also in the ASVAB. Okay. It's also in the TEAS test or any of those nursing when you're doing the algebra piece. They always have a question like this. So now what we're going to do, but use coins anymore. I know. I mean, hell, did you not see the question that says DVD? I don't even think people know what a DVD is. Let me put an 8-track on here and see how many people respond to that. They're like, what's an 8-track? What's a cassette? How do you use, what is this, a Walkman? Yes. Stop making me old. Pain in the ass. So, all of a sudden you get a phone. I saw a pay phone not far from my house a couple of days ago. I stared at it for like, oh my God, because I haven't seen a page phone in forever. It still had the receiver. That wasn't yanked out. I was like, oh my goodness. It was so crazy. But anywho, we are going to set up two equations. Okay? Almost done, lovely. Almost done. Okay, we're going to set up two equations. So one equation is going to deal with the coins. And the other equation is going to deal with its value. We know that there are how many coins? Put it in the chat. We're going to break this down step by step. How many total coins do we have? Okay, good. Big Al saying 15. Michael 15. T 15. User 15. X Williams 15. Genevieve. Hi, Genevieve. 15. Okay, Elias 15. User 2786 15. Hilly 15. Nano 15. Butterfly. Hi. How are you? 15. Valley 15. Madison 15. Okay. Seems like it's not enough, but after 8. My brain's not working. Hey, I get it. All right, so we know we have a total of 15 coins. And those coins are nickels and dimes. So we can use N and D if you want to. If you want to use X and Y, you can use X and Y. I'm just going to use N and D. It's a little easier, right? So now we're looking at the value. How much in value are those coins that Luke has? Okay, there you go. All right, so we got 120, Madison, Big Al, Vel, Ness, Nano, yes, Michael, yes, T, User, yes, X Williams, yes. Okay, so we know that when we're talking the value, I need to do the value of the coins. So a nickel is 0.05. I know I have to do it like this. And my dime is 0.10 D. Ran out of room. Sorry. Now, we can do this one of two ways. I'm noticing that a lot of people just do not get decimals. Now, desperate times call for desperate measures. Are you ready? We can multiply all three for the bottom one to make them into whole numbers. We can multiply all three slots by 100. And the reason why some people like to just have whole numbers. So if I multiply this nickel value by 100, basically I'm moving that decimal place over 2 slots, which will give me 5N. If I want to multiply this 10 cents by 100, I'm moving this decimal place over to the right, which gives me 10D. And if I want to multiply the 120, $1.20, I move this over 2 places over. Now I got 120. Okay. You can use its equivalents to make it a little easier for you. Because look at our answer choices. They're all whole numbers. So we're trying to figure out how many nickels do we have? Okay. If we can. All right. We can figure out how many nickels. So from here, once you kind of get this, if you want, you're like, oh, okay, well, I can say, all right, 5. So that will be 10. All right. If I do 5 nickels, that means we'll have 10 dimes. So if I use 5 here, that works for that first equation. Let me see if it works for the second equation. So if I have 5 here, I'm going to have 25, right? And 120 minus my 25, that gives me 95. But if we're saying we got 10 dimes, remember we did it up here, 5 plus 10 gives me 15. That means that same number for 10 is being represented down here. That's not giving me 95. That's going to give me some weird number. So 5 is not it. If we use, because remember, we can get so many different forms of change. So if we use 6 for my n, right? So we got our 15 minus 6, that will give us 9. So if I have 6, 5 times 6 will give me 30, right? So 120 minus 30, that would give me 90. And we said there was 9 dimes. 9 times 10, that does give me 90. So this seems to work. If we said 8, notice I'm keep going for a second, because I want to make sure. So if I say 8, that means I got 7. So if I have 7 nickels, right? If I have 7 nickels, that'll give me 35. So 120 minus 35 will give me 85. But that will be 8. And 8 times 10, that doesn't give me 85. That just gives me 80. So you see how we could do, and I'll show you system of equations tomorrow, but without you knowing a formula, okay, just to keep it somewhat simple, you see how you can do process elimination. You have to figure out, okay, or if I got 5 nickels here, that means I got 10 dimes. Then I'm going to substitute the 5 for the N and the 10 for the D to see if that gives me 120. Nope. If I plug the 6 in for the N, and I'll get, what did I say, 9. Duh. If a 6 plus 9 will give me 15. So if I plug the 6 for the N here and the 9 for the D here, will it give me 120? Yes. Boom. Take it. All right. All right. Okay, so that's basically what we're doing. But I think translating your term into whole numbers instead of keeping it as decimals will be less intimidating for a lot of you guys. Yes or no? Talk to me. You're trying to surprise me with 30. Aw, you're so sweet. Okay. All right. So you can do what people used to call it back in the day, plugging and chugging. Okay. Let's see. I do have one more. Yep, almost done, boo-boo. I know, you're about to do some cat stuff. It's like, Mom, I need to go outside and do some cat stuff. As long as you ain't bringing no kittens around here, we good. I ain't gonna be no grandmother up in here. Can you give me a few minutes, Mr. Plops? Okay. One more problem, okay? Okay? Alright. Okay. I love shaking a cat's paw. Like we just made a deal, so hey. That's how we do in this house. Stay true to your word. One more. Yes, one more, babes. Yes, last problem. Last problem. Ooh. Let's see if we can get everything in there. Yes. All right. Take a look. Okay, Marla's using 2 copiers to make copies of a 1-page newsletter. She will use both copiers to make a total of 1,200 copies of the newsletter. Both copies will start and end at the same time. So how many minutes will it take to make 1,200 copies? Okay, I'm going to give you a moment. Oh, yeah. They do understand. Oops. Excuse me for one moment. It's getting kind of breezy. So how many minutes will it take to make 1,200 copies? Both make 100 copies in 1 minute. Okay, you have to start. Okay, Michael is saying, okay, user saying you have to start putting up your Cash App. Send gifts or nothing, but I'll send what I can. Oh, that's sweet. Yeah, we were doing that for a minute to help me save my house, and I still have all the people I have to owe money back to. As soon as we get back into it, don't pin the Cash App next live. Okay. Sure. Not a problem. Okay. JB. Okay. Willingham saying A. Genevieve saying A. That was an easy one. Eric. How are you, Eric? Okay, life hack. Saying 12. There we go. 12. Big Al. What's wrong, Big Al? Great. Put your Cash up there because you're helping me tremendously. Aw. Looks like I might add it to my little sheet. That's my old one, I forgot. That one. Okay. Let's see. That's okay. So we're going to get step by step. So we got 2 copiers, right? So basically they're both going on at the same time. One makes 60 copies per minute and the other one makes 40 copies per minute. So if we think of it, just like Michael said, if you add both of them, 60 plus 40, that'll give me 100. So they both make 100 copies per minute. So if they want to make 1,200 copies, we could take our 1,200 and divide it by the 100 to get our 12 minutes. Where's Jess? Jess is probably tired. I know. We'll probably see her tomorrow. Okay. Do you see what happened, Big Al? Okay. So you could think of it that way. Yep. Okay. So in 1 minute, both of them added together will give me 100 copies. And then you will take, okay, well, we want to make 1,200 copies. Take the 1,200 divided by the 100, and you'll get your 12 minutes. Now, for some other reason, if you're like, I didn't really see that, but I see it now. But during a test, this is what you can do. Why not take your answers and substitute them for the minutes to see which one will add up together to give me 1,200. So if I plug in the 12 for 60, that'll be 720, right? So then I'll take my 12 times 40, and that will give me 480. So 720 plus 480, that will give me my 1,200. Boom, that's your answer. Okay. Now, when it comes to system of equations, it has to work. The same amount has to work in both situations. If it works in one and it doesn't work in the other one, eliminate it. Done. Don't even like, well, I think it could. No. Like, done. All right. So remember, process of elimination. College. Awesome. Good. Yay. Thank you for making me feel good. You know? And I know as soon as you get back to classes, and I think a lot of you guys are starting classes tomorrow, you're feeling a little uneasy. It's been a minute since you've been in the classroom. You're going to look around, and probably most of the people in your class are going to be younger than you. Hell, your teacher might even be younger than you. And then all of a sudden, they're going off on a huge tangent, and you're like, I shouldn't be here. I shouldn't be here. So please let my voice overcome that. Listen, and listen clearly. You deserve to be there. You're going to understand it. You're going to do well in this class. Because even when you feel uneasy during the sessions, guess where you can come and get help? Hi, how you doing? Hey, how you doing? You got someone that I feel that I'm patient enough. I'm not as patient like I was when I was younger, but I'm patient enough to break concepts down. And then on top of it, you can, let me see if I unzoom just a lot. You can come here and watch my videos. I have videos since February 2nd. A lot of the videos are not consistent like you would see in your class, but if you know the title of what you're supposed to be working on, you can easily go there. It's free, you know? But if you want me to be your tutor to help break concepts down, that's not free. I have to emphasize that, okay? I'm expensive, but I'm good at what I do. But if anything, you can at least go here to get a resource. So please, don't let those moments of doubt get in the way. All right? You can definitely do it, and you are doing it. The fact that you realize that you need to go back to school and you wanted to do something better and you want to break through a barrier, I am so proud of you. I'm so proud of you. You're going to have naysayers, and even some of them are your family members, people that have known you for years. This is when you're starting to step up and to grow out. And some people just do not want to do that. They want to keep you where you're at, and you need to grow. So go ahead and grow. Okay? All right. Yes, you're going to do well. You're going to do awesome. Everyone, even those that are just here for entertainment's sake. You're doing awesome things. Your greatness is needed in this world. So please do not I'm by myself. You're not by yourself anymore. Hell, you're in a room right now with 103 people, and we're doing math at Eastern Standard Time at 8:33 p.m., where we should be watching 90 Day Fiancé, wondering why Jasmine is impregnated with another man's baby. But no, we're sitting here trying to do math. Shoot, all this crazy foolishness. And we're wondering why this person is trying to marry someone that's Muslim and trying to convert him to be an American. You silly woman. Anyway, my little pastime. But again, I have tutoring sessions ready, available. If you are thinking about doing your GED or your ASVAB, I am currently working on a workbook. It is really starting to be a bear, but I'm pushing forward because I know it's needed. But in the meantime, I do have self-paced courses of which you can basically look at my 107 videos. There's practice sheets. There's a couple quizzes on there. But I do have one that's a pricing point that includes tutoring. If so, you can definitely go here and get more information on it and to when to sign up. Or if you want to message me on the bottom, if you're using your cell phone, at the bottom where it says Service Plus, you can actually email me. Okay, you can just send me a message. I'm going to call you back. I have this one lady I was supposed to call back today. Today got a little cray-cray. But you can definitely go there. Okay. Yes. Oh my gosh. I know. Ridiculousness. Now, if you like the design of my notebook here, okay, I showed you a couple things. I do have additional resources closer to the back. It's 100 pages, okay, which you can write your formulas and your steps. And as you can tell, we can tape things in if you want to keep your notes nice and clean, okay? So you can be able to find your resources so much quicker. Also, this has a factor sheet. If you're not strong with your multiplication, you're not too sure how to break down radicals, how to find factors, how to find your least common multiple, your greatest common factors, all of that is here for the factor sheet, which goes from 1 to 200. Then you have your operations, which we just saw that earlier. But I also decide on my new version is to add the squares and the cubes. This book is really designed from 7th grade all the way up to adults. So if you're taking intermediate algebra, this would be a great book for you to have. All of basically the formulas. Here's the rules of integers, has our stuff about inequalities and interval notation, all the stuff that you see for Algebra 1 and some pre-algebra. A lot of those concepts do get repeated. Here's a linear and quadratics. And if you ever get stuck, you can look in the back of the book, okay? We used to call it Bob back in the day, B-O-B. So we have our decimals operations, how to do that, how to line things up. We're looking at fractions operations, how to add, subtract, multiply, and divide fractions, as well as how to break down the percent and the decimals and all that. Place values is in here, as well as our distance, speed, and time, measures of central tendencies, which is my 3 M's, and the measures of variation, as well as the arithmetic and geometric sequence. Then you have your system of equations, which we're going to talk about how to solve them. That's what we're going to do for tomorrow. And then we're going to talk about the systems of inequalities, graphing linear inequalities, just those reminders, as well as Pythagorean theorem, SOHCAHTOA, volume, surface area, perimeter. Yeah, everything except for the kitchen sink. Okay, and then their conversions chart. So all of this in one spot. Okay, depending on how I write my notes rather big, so I know this will probably hold off for like maybe a quarter. So you probably need 4 of them, not to be like, yeah, buy my stuff. But depending on how large you write, you can have all these resources at your fingertips. Okay, so this is the cover of it for the pre-algebra and algebra 1. I do have one for algebra 2 and pre-calculus. And I also have one for my lefties. Okay, I'm starting a left-handed edition because lefties need love too. Okay, so the same things. Notice how it opens. Oh, okay, with the whole same sequence and everything. You get the same resources in the back as well. Okay. All right. No problem. So if you want to, you can purchase it on the A. You know, the brown box with the smiley face, but I only get like 50% or 50 cents each book. Or you can go to my private, which is right here. I can't say it because I'll get dinged, but you can go there and place your order. It'll take like a week for it to arrive. Okay. Because I do a lot of print on demand. I try not to have whole bunches of stuff in my house. Because the way my life has been going, my basement flooded really bad. God knows about the roof and all that stuff. And I would hate to like spend all that money on books and then all of a sudden something happens. So I'm just not gonna push God right now. I'm just not gonna push that envelope. No problem. Yes, I try to. And if you ever want copies of my actual notes, I have something called Audrey's Notes, which is a play on Cliff Notes. So like if you ever just want the copies of my notes that I use here on all my TikTok lives, right now we're working on book number 6. So there are 5 Audrey's Notes that's out there. Again, you can get it on the A, or you can go to my bookstore, Books by Audrey Codner. And what happens is, let's take this for example. So this one's based on percentage problems, right? And these are my notes. There's a QR code right down here. This QR code will actually take you to the live from my YouTube channel. And instead of you searching, trying to figure out who's where, what, why, you can just scan the code and then follow along on the live. Again, you can speed up the live, you can slow down the live, you can pause it, you can be like, oh, that's where she got that from, or oh, that's where it is. And it's nice for like remediation. It's great for like homeschool parents, you know, maybe even teachers that want to give people explanation. So not only do you see the problems, it's on both sides. You actually, and it's just scans of my notes. So if you're like, oh, which one should I get for da-da-da-da? This is like for entertainment only. Like, there's no consistency because like 1 minute I'm doing like probability, and then the next minute I'm like looking at, well, that's still probability. I'm looking at mean, median, and mode. Okay, so this book here is book 3, where you have expressions, probability, and precision. All right, but there's a total of 5 of those books. So depending on what videos you see, if you want to purchase those, you can purchase those as well. All right. I don't know about genius, but thank you. Okay. Need this. Awesome. Yes. Yep. So, hey, that's why I try to cover as much as I can. As I want to say, and I say to myself every day, I am a success story in progress. Eventually, one day, Oprah's going to be like just flipping through TikTok one day or whatever it's going to be called. And she's going to be like, oh, who's this child? Oh, I like this. Ooh. Or there's going to be some mathematician that's going to try to see it, and I'm just going to be a success story away. You know, I try to keep things organized. I know a lot of our kids are nowadays, most of them don't take notes. If they do anything with notes, they get a packet of papers and then they lose the packet. So at least with this, if they need to put something and tape it on one side of the page, they can use the other side to summarize what's on that other page. Okay, so that's another tactic that you can use it. So they call that an interactive notebook. And then plus with the sealant, you're not tearing any pages out, and it's not as hard as a composition notebook. It can roll, as you can see, you know, and it does have a nice matting. Just like if you bought, I don't do it with the sheerness, and plus I like lava lamps. So if you ever see these, I like lava lamps. Child of the 70s, that's what's happening. Okay. Favorite things, wouldn't that be fun? And you'd be like, oh, I know Audrey. And I'd be like, wait, is that Butterfly? Hey, girl, hey. Yeah, I will be that person on TV. They'll be like, oh, girl, can she class it up? Yes. All right. Yep. And that's it. And I want to say that to all of us. We're all a success story waiting to happen. And we just have to push through. And trust me, it's hard. Guys, it's so hard. But trust, it's going to be just the fact that you guys are sitting here watching. I remember, heck, even Michael was one of the old G's for me. It was Michael and like two other people. I think it was him, Leanne, and someone else. I think it was CB, if I'm not mistaken. Were the only 3 people watching my lives. Now there's 77 people because I'm rambling on. But and they're like, okay, Audrey's done, so we're just gonna leave. But the fact that it has grown to look almost to 50K likes. I know you guys have been tapping away like there's no tomorrow. What's the site to purchase? Oops. Yeah, I tried to do TikTok shop. I don't really care to like it. It's kind of weird. But maybe one day I'll try it again. Because you know me, I don't like to... Not a problem. Okay. So now for the left-handed one that's on there, the back or the picture will look like this, which is the back of the book. They still haven't... I'm like one of the rare people that I said, I want to make a left-handed book. And they were like, oh, okay. But in order for them to change the system, they have this for the backing. Right? But this is what the front's actually going to look like. Okay. All right. Not a problem. So again, you have a resource. For those that are going to be starting classes this week, I am so proud of you. You're going to do amazing. If you ever get stuck, you know where to go. You got a person that you can talk to now. For those that are here, you know, if you just want to go to the YT channel, subscribe. That would be great. I would love to get more of the subscribers. And then I will be here tomorrow night. I'm probably going to come a little bit earlier. I'm thinking about 8 o'clock as opposed to 9:30 because I don't have anyone. Well, actually, no. No, never mind. I'm going to come here at 9:30. Never mind. I'm not going to change it. I'll be here at 9:30. Okay. So I'll be here at 9:30 and we're going to do system of equations. We're just going to do the solving. And we'll do the graphing, and I'm going to do the basics of graphing on Tuesday. So like literally, what is a point? What is a coordinate? How do you point? What do you do for quadrants? Very basic. I'm going back to the basics, okay? I'm trying to hit on a lot of those things so then when it's time for you to apply it, GED, ASVAB, ACCUPLACER, all those examinations, you're going to be fine. Okay? All right. Well, thank you. No, thank you. I appreciate it. Yep. So if you purchase through here, it's going to take roughly about a week. Okay? And if anything occurs, I think I can see your actual name. So if anything happens, just let me know, and I'll reach out to them. Okay? All right, everyone. Thank you so much for coming in. Look at you guys. 52. You're amazing. You're just so amazing. All right. So again, if you need me for additional tutoring, if you know someone's child, someone that's going into high school that needs help with Algebra 2, anyone that needs help with SAT prep, because I know the PSATs are right around the corner. Because before you know it, October will be here. I can't. I really can't. Why is everything going by so quickly? So if you notice that life is zooming by, just take a moment and breathe. Right? Just take a moment. All right. I love you guys. Thank you so much for your love and your time and your attention. Yup. You got it tomorrow. So beautiful. I want to see you here at the live tomorrow. I want to know how your first day went. Okay, anyone that has a first day going back to school tomorrow, I want you to come back to my live. If you can't come back to the live because you're exhausted, I want you to send me a message and you tell me how your first day went, because I really want to know. Okay, I really want to know. All right. All right, guys, have an amazing night. Get some rest, and I will see you guys tomorrow evening. All right, love you all. Bye.